Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Yasharal and Yahuda. It's about the push. It's about the push. We the people of the book broadcast is going down. We the people of the book broadcast is going down. It's the Shabbat. Y'all know we love the Shabbat. Listen to none other than Aki. Hezekiah. The song is entitled Woman in Travail. I don't want to write to this music. Push. I love you, who I love you, who I love you, who. Yasharal and Yehuda, we got to push, we got to push. We got to be established in this witness. Listen, I got to cry loud, I got to spare not. I got to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. Listen. I gotta tell Yasharal and Yahuda. I gotta tell the grafted in Gentiles into the body of Mashiach. Push. Listen, you got to endure to the end. You got to endure to the end. You got to be them virgins, them 5 that had their oil lamps trimmed. When the 12 o'clock hour came, they were ready to go into the bridegroom. Yeah, because they had the Ruach of Yahuwah. They had the oil. They hadn't been messing around, wasting time. And in the final hour, they going to rise up and say, we going. No. Yahweh, I give you praise for the witness of the Ruach HaKodesh. I pray that you take the reins of my lips and the reins of my tongue and reign. Yahweh, I give you praise for your Ruach HaKodesh. I give you praise. Yahweh, let me not cause anyone to stumble, anyone to be turned out of the way, anyone come up lame. Yahweh, I'm in to help Yasharal and Yehuda push. I want the devil mad. Push. Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, I pray that the words that I speak would be Ruach and life. Yahweh, in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, let the words of my mouth and meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. Oh, Yahuwah, my strength and my redeemer. Push. Yasharal and Yahuda. Grafted in Gentiles. Push. 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 Listen. We, the people of the book broadcast, has a mission. We have to push. We got to help. We got to help push. Get it out. Endure to the end. Make it to the end. It's about to push you. It's about to push. Yasharal and Yahuda, listen, it's about to push. It's about to push. It's about to push. You got to push this thing out. You got to endure to the end. Listen. The race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but those that endure to the end. Right? You got to be amongst those virgins that are wise, that are established in Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh. You got oil in your wine. I mean, you get the oil in your wine. You got oil in your lamps. You know, in our Shabbat lesson in the Basur of Truth, Ma'ak was talking about the oil. And he talking about the oil that comes from the grace. You got the oil that comes from the olives. You got to press. You got to squeeze. They got to be crushed. Tribulations work. Tribulation works. Tribulation works. You got to have your oil in your lamps. You got to have the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. You got to have the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. You got to be established in the witness of Yahusha. That's what you would just tell. Look, I just stay with. Listen, I just do what you would tell me to do. He tell me to preach to people and let them know they need to be established in the witness. You got to receive the Ruach HaKodesh, water and blood. That's all I got. That's what. That look. In every way, shape, and form, he gonna give me what I need to get that message across. Because everything he's called me to teach has everything to do with you receiving the witness. The Ruach HaKodesh, the water and the blood. You got to be established in this witness. You got to be established in this witness. You got to be established in this witness. And I got to cry loud, and I got to spare not. I got to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. I got to lift up my voice like a trump in Zion. Listen. Let's look at this real quick. We're going to look at this real quick. Right? Matthew 25. Right? Matthew 25, verse 1. Right? Yahusha begins to expound and by a parable. And the parable is the parable of the 10 virgins. Right? 10 virgins. And you have to understand that this is ruachally discerned, right? It's the Ruach HaKodesh. It's ruachally discerned. It's a dark saying, right? It's one that requires ruachal interpretation because you'll just be stuck on lamps. You'll forget the whole ruach of wisdom and understandings, discernment concerning this. You have to have the Ruach HaKodesh to understand these texts and these parables and these things that Yahuwah is trying to convey a message to. Now, unless he gives you the interpretation after he gives it to you. Listen, the idea is that, these are dark sayings, not dark as in dark satanic, but as in mystery, as in requiring spiritual insight in order to rightfully discern or get the understanding of it, right? So, in this, it says that then shall the kingdom of the Shamaim, right, be like unto 10 virgins, right, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. Now here we have these 10 virgins, right, that took their lamps, right? They took their lamps. And they went forth. They received the witness. They received the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. They were born of the water of the blood and the Ruach HaKodesh. They received the witness. Right? Because they had their lamps trimmed with oil. Right? They took their lamps and they went forth to meet the bridegroom. Right? 5 were wise. 5 operated with the Ruach HaKodesh wisdom. Right? And 5 were foolish. 5 gave themselves to no madness and folly. So you understand what I'm talking about. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 1st chapter, the 16th verse. Shlomo says, I commune with my own heart. Got to thinking of myself. Entertaining self-talk. Communing with my own heart. Saying, lo, I am come to great estate. I am honored and exalted. Got money. I got people looking out, coming to me. I got kings and women wanting me to marry them, but I'm marrying them, doing all of this stuff. Right? Great. I have got more wisdom than all they that have been in before me in Jerusalem. Got more wisdom than everybody. The nation. Right? Now one time as he said, Yahuwah has given me wisdom. Right? See, this is what happens over time when you take your eyes off Yahuwah. When you take your eyes off the Ruach HaKodesh. When you choose not to listen to him anymore, but you establish your own understanding. You commune with your own heart. Right? Right? And at some point, his heart became desperately wicked. But he communed with his own heart. Now, as a young man, his heart was right, because Yahuwah said, look, what you want? You render sacrifices unto me. You've demonstrated to me that you love my people. You have a love for me and my people. This is what you want. You'll give me wisdom. Give me wisdom. Give me knowledge. Give me the Ruach HaKodesh wisdom. Give me the Ruach HaKodesh knowledge. That I might stand before you and your people. For who can judge? Who can provide guidance or leadership? Who can do whatever? Who can do this for these people? I ain't equipped for this, but if you give me your wisdom and your Ruach HaKodesh, because your wisdom is seated in the Amein next to you. If you can give it to me, I'm good. Ruach HaKodesh wisdom. Right? Shlomo took his eyes off of Yahuwah, his Ruach, his wisdom and knowledge. He came lifted up. Pride goes for destruction. All these spirits before a fall. He became lifted up. Everybody telling him he was the man. You the man. Stop believing it. Stop giving glory to Yahuwah. Women telling you, you're so beautiful, you're so wise. You're wiser than anything. Right? You're as wise as our gods. Gods? Listen. We're going someplace with this, right? He says, yea, and my heart hath great experience. And, yea, my heart hath great experience in wisdom and knowledge. Right? He says, I gave my heart to know wisdom. Right? He didn't say, I gave my heart to Yahuwah and asked for wisdom. He said he gave his heart to know wisdom. Right? And to know knowledge. Right? But he wasn't done with just that. Right? He gave himself to know madness. Right? To know madness. Madness is the state of being mentally ill. This is the English translation of the word madness. It's especially severely, right? It is also extremely foolish behavior. I gave myself to know extremely foolish behavior. See, I stopped meditating in the Torah day and night because I didn't need to do that anymore. Because I had all wisdom. I had all knowledge. Everybody tells me I got it. I know I got it. I don't need to meditate in the Torah anymore. And I think I'm going to give myself to know madness, and folly. Right? Extreme foolish behavior. Right? Similar words. Folly. Foolishness. Stupidity. Insanity. Lunacy. Mayhem. Chaos. Right? Babel. Or Baal. Gave myself to that. See, because these strange wives that I took, they had to, make some concessions for them. They had their gods, and, I had to give them a place for them, And, my wisdom now tells me that, go ahead and stick them in there in the tabernacle of you. Put their gods in there, too. That's wisdom I got now. Right? Go ahead and, put up their gods in Jerusalem and the city gates, the wisest man on the earth. Yeah, go ahead and put those groves up and those altars on the high mountains. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, you even go ahead and put that Baal, that that breasted and sacrifice the kids. Go ahead. It's okay. Because I gave myself to know foolishness. Gave myself to stupidity. See, I had shied away from the Torah because, the Torah told me not to multiply wives, but I don't need that. Yeah. The Torah told me not to have any other L's before you. But that's okay because I got his wisdom. I got his understanding. I got his knowledge now, right? Got it all. I got it. So no worries. The Most High said, you don't bring no other L's before him, not to have a bunch of wives, it's okay, It says, I gave my heart to know wisdom and knowledge, right? To know madness, stupidity, and foolishness, right? I perceive this also vexed the Ruach. See now, Shlomo knew what the consequences were for, right? What happens as a result of the Ruach and when it comes in contact with sin. Because, it's madness and it's folly, it's sin, y'all. Listen. He sinned against Yahush's Torah. He violated Torah. Yeah, he became unrighteous. Yeah. You don't put L's in Yahush's temple. The same temple as a young man, when you asked Yahuwah to give you wisdom, he gave you. That same temple that you dedicated all those bulls and oxen and sheep and all that stuff that you did for Yahuwah's temple, you made it in a likeness and a similitude of that which is in the Shamayim, right? You developed it, you put it and made it passionate and gave it unto Yahuwah and dedicated it with all of that sacrifice. And now, you're going to give yourself to no madness and folly and going to introduce these L's into the temple of Yahuwah. Verse 3, for a forward thought separate from Yahuwah's. I gave myself to know wisdom. My heart to commune with. Forward thoughts. Separate you from Yahuwah. Right. Excuse me. His power, his Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach of wisdom. His power, when it is tested, right, reproves the wise. He's going to correct you. Ruach HaKodesh, wisdom, Ruach HaKodesh, knowledge, Ruach, they're going to correct you. Right? But listen. Verse 4, into a malicious soul, the Ruach HaKodesh will not enter. Because Ruach HaKodesh don't want nothing to do with you. If your soul is malicious, if you're not renewed, if you're not transformed, if you're not a recipient of the witness, the water, the blood, the Ruach HaKodesh don't want nothing to do with you. Don't want nothing to do with you. It ain't going to enter you. Yahusha said you can't even know the Ruach HaKodesh. The world don't know him. The world won't receive him because they don't know him. Right? The Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Because Shlomo asked for you as Ruach HaKodesh. That's the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Right? It's in 1 Kings. It's in 2 Chronicles. Right? He asked for it, you gave it to him. He said, your wisdom and knowledge is granted. Shlomo asked his understanding heart, he may judge you as people. He always got it. Rock of wisdom, right? But, there came a point where, he entertained folly and madness. Right? He entertained finding. No, listen, right? For to a malicious soul, wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject to sin, nor dwell in the body that's subject to sin. You. What's Ruach of wisdom is not Ruach at the same dwell up in the body that's subject to sin. Listen. For the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline will flee. So there came a point where, in Solomon's life, as he matured, the Ruach HaKodesh fled. Because you know what? He didn't find it necessary to meditate and door day and night. He didn't need to fast anymore. He didn't need to pray no more. Everybody was telling him he was already good. All good, man. You all good. Go ahead. You all good. You're wise, man. Wisest man ever lived, Shlomo. Right. Yeah, well, you know, I guess I don't need Torah anymore. I'm right in my own eyes. I'm good. I got wisdom. Look at all these women I got. Look at all this money I got. Look at my house. Yeah, my wives, they got the L's all around it. Look at me. Look at me. For the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline will flee deceit. Flee deceit. It'll remove from the thoughts that are without understanding. Ruach HaKodesh can't deal with you no more. You don't have understanding. Right? And listen, and will not abide when unrighteousness come in. Look, now we gone. Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge, the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah, Ruach HaKodesh of counsel, might, Ruach HaKodesh understanding, Ruach HaKodesh fear of Yahuwah. You don't even fear me no more. You don't even fear Yahuwah. You don't have Yahuwah's Ruach of fear. Look, you find it easy to put other L's in Yahuwah's temple. You know, Yahuwah's temple has the holies of holies. What's in there? Wisdom. Shlomo said, I gave my heart to know wisdom and knowledge, madness and folly. I gave myself to know and understand the state of being mentally ill. Yeah, I was insane. Lunacy. Craziness was what I was. I was a state of frenzy and chaotic activity. Right? It's a state of frenzy or chaotic activity. Got 150 wives running around the house. All kinds of L's all over the place. People starting to get buck wild. People offering up children as sacrifices. Chaos. Folly. But here's a man that started out as a young man who understood that he needed the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah. The Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah. I gotta have the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah. I gotta have the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge. I gotta have the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah. I ain't qualified to do this. See, some point, he left from recognizing he wasn't qualified. He was going to take the Ruach HaKodesh to qualify him to the point where he believed that he was already qualified and didn't need the Ruach HaKodesh to do whatever else he needed to do, but he failed. Now, let's look at Matthew. These words I want you to grab hold of. Right? He says in the second chapter, in that 25th chapter, the second verse, he says 5 of them were wise. 5 of them gave themselves to the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah continually. Right? And 5 of them were foolish. 5 of them entertained madness, folly. They became lackadaisical. They figured, well, he ain't coming tomorrow, so bridegroom, he ain't coming no time soon, so we got time. Yeah, we got time. Yeah, we made that declaration. Yeah, we accepted the water, the blood, and Ruach. We accepted all that. Yeah, we got time though. We can still, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be able to grab it on our deathbed. Yeah, we're gonna be able to get it in that final hour. Yeah, we good. Right? 5 was wise. 5 was foolish. Shlomo said, I perceive that this also is vexation and vanity. Vanity. It's vexation. Right? It's a vexation of the Ruach to be foolish. It's a vexation of the Ruach to be vain. Vanity. That's Ruach. That's vexation. What is vexation? Hebrew word for vexation.
Strong's H, 7475. Rayon.
Longing, striving. Striving. It's vexation. Striving. When you just doing something and doing something and doing something and it just vexes you. It ain't just doing a lot of work, a lot of striving, right? Let's look at the etymology of that word. It is Ra.
Strong's H, 7462.
Ra.
Ra'ah.
To gaze. To gaze. Right? To gaze. Right? There's some other words there, but I think. Right? So, he says it's vexation of spirit. Now listen. Now listen. He says here, for in much wisdom, oh, my feet is on. In much wisdom, right? Much grief. What? Wait a minute, Shlomo. This is the same wisdom that you sought to a spouse. He was passionate about her beauty. Same wisdom that you had to have when you came home to sit down to commune with. That wasn't a vexing thing, or that wasn't an argumentative thing. He referred to her as the Ruach HaKodesh is her. Now Yahusha said the Ruach he, but Shlomo, the Ruach was her. The way he looked at it as a young man, this beautiful thing, this thing to be desired. Young man, he wanted that desire. Passionate. There was nothing about it that was grieving. Right? And he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. There was nothing that was sorrowful about it. Because he meditated toward day and night. Yahuwah revealed things to him by the Ruach HaKodesh wisdom and knowledge. He wasn't grieving, but it was a transition. There was a transition. He gave himself to know madness. He turned this into self-talk. He convinced himself and allowed everybody to feed him this thing that created this monster of pride, arrogance. Yeah. He ain't need you as Ruach anymore. And then Ruach left him anyway. And because he did, he couldn't discern wisdom. Couldn't discern it anymore. See, because wisdom became grief. Knowledge became sorrow. He couldn't discern it anymore because Ruach HaKodesh wisdom and knowledge was gone. Oh, Ruach HaKodesh wisdom and knowledge is gone. It vacated the premises. It exit stage left. Gone. Exit stage left. Bangladesh. Hence the virgins. Five were wise. Ruach. Five was foolish. But see, but they all had lamps that had oil. Let's go. And they that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. So they had these lamps that had oil in them already, but they didn't take none in the event that, the oil, it took time. They weren't prepared to endure to the end. They weren't prepared for the endurance. They weren't prepared to endure to the end. Yeah, they started out right. Started out right. Became lackadaisical. They stopped praying and fasting and seeking you. Tribulation would come, but they wouldn't do what that's necessary to endure tribulation. They weren't ready. They weren't prepared. They weren't ready. They had what they needed initially, but they weren't really prepared. Now listen. He says, but the wise took oil in their lamps, in their vessels, with their lamps. So they took their vessels with extra oil. So they went out with their lamps and carrying their vessels. The foolish went out with their lamps, but they ain't had no vessels to carry no extra oil. They weren't prepared to endure to the end. They weren't prepared to endure to the end. No, they thought they had what they needed and that was going to get them there. Right? Even though tribulation's coming. Testings, trials, things that work. Listen. He says, and while the bridegroom tarried, now see that, see, you gotta understand, right? Because things don't seem like they changing in the way that we think they should, or the time that it takes to get things to, we think they should be moving at a certain pace. You get lackadaisical. You don't get persistent in prayer. You don't get up at midnight hour and pray and seek Yahush's face. You don't do some of these things that you need to do, right? You don't do some of these things you need to do in order to be established in this witness. You just kind of lackadaisical. You don't pray like you should. You don't fast like you should. You don't read the word like you should. You don't pray in the Ruach. You don't pray with your understanding. Right? You don't do the things that are necessary that's going to cause you to endure. Right? Foolish. You come like Shlomo. I'm good. I got what I need. I got everything I need. I'm good. Right? Take your eyes off you. Waiting for the bridegroom. You in this witness? Just wait. I'm good. I'm looking for you to come. I ain't fasting, ain't praying. Shlomo. Eventually you're going to give yourself to no madness and folly. And you're going to think at the last minute you could turn it around. Think at the last minute you could turn it around. On your deathbed you can turn it around. While the bridegroom tarried, because you expect him to come when you think he's going to come. You start setting dates and times. You start setting months and seasons. You start doing all these things, to calculate when Yahuwah is going to return. You don't know that, because no man knows they know how when Yahushua Mashiach is going to come. You just know you need to be prepared. And that process of endurance is to the end. Because only those that endure to the end is going to receive the prize. Right? So you got to be prepared to endure to the end. You got to be prepared to do it to the end. You got to be prepared to suffer tribulation. Because it works. Experience, it works. You got to be prepared to endure to the end. Because you don't know the day nor the hour when the Son of Man comes. But you got 5 Ruach Hakadesh filled brides that is, listen, we going to make sure we have what we need so that we can endure to the end. And then the foolish like, yeah, well, we got what we need in our lamps now. Because we don't think it's going to be that long. And at midnight, there was a cry made at 12 o'clock. In the midnight hour. There's a cry. Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go out ye to meet him. Yahusha Mashiach is here. He's come to gather his people. He's coming to take his people. You pop up. Hallelujah. Or actually, you might have been on your knees at night praying. You will. It's time. Right. You ready to go. You have the Ruach HaKodesh. You going out rejoicing. Prepared. Being strong in the Ruach and the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Strong in the Ruach and the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. Having done those things that work in your tribulation. Developing patience, because nobody knows the day nor the hour. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. But you're patient. Even in tribulation, enduring. You got experience. Experience told you, listen, you better have some oil in your lamp, in your vessel. You better not just you better not just go off of what you got burning. You better have something that's in your vessel. That when the hour comes and your lamp's about to go out, you can put more in, because you know what? You recognize by experience that you just don't know when the time is going to be. So you got to always be prepared. You got to always be fasting. You got to always be praying. You got to always be seeking Yahuwah. You got to give yourself to the witness of Yahusha 24/7. It's got to be a part of your life. Right? So you go out to meet you. He taps you. It's time. All the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. But the foolish, those that weren't consistent, they started out with oil. They started out with oil. Right? Right? The foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps have gone out. They were in the witness. They were virgins. But they didn't last. They didn't endure. They didn't do the things that was necessary to keep them before Yahuwah. They said, give us your oil, for our lamps are out. We need some of your oil. Look, I got oil for my vessel for my oil. I got oil in my vessel for my lamp. Can't give you my oil. Bridegroom call. He's coming. I got to lit my lamp. But you give me some. No, I can't. Because you know why? You're responsible for your own oil. You're responsible for where you are in Yahuwah's witness. Mom and them can't do nothing for you. Your husband can't get you in. Your wife can't get you in. Your children can't get you in. You can't get your children in. If they're of age and they recognize that they have to have the witness of Yahusha Mashiach, guess what? They got to get in. Then all the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. The fool said to the wise, give us oil, yours, for our lamps is gone out. You got a responsibility to endure to the end. Yahusha has made a personal commitment to you. He provided a blood for you. He gave you Yahuwah's Ruach. And all he asks you to do is go and endure to the end and do the work that he has called you to do. He's giving you the Ruach Hadesh. That's the Ruach of Yahuwah. That gives you everything you need to get the job done. The Ruach of Yahuwah, Ruach of wisdom, Ruach of understanding, Ruach of counsel, Ruach of might, Ruach of knowledge, fear of Yahuwah. The Ruach of Yahuwah. Yahuwah will give you everything you need. The Ruach HaKodesh, whatever you need to get the job done. See, my job is to declare to you the witness. My job is to let you know you must receive the Ruach HaKodesh. Everything I say and do is going to be based on the Ruach of wisdom and understanding and the Ruach of knowledge and communicating to you Yahuwah's purpose in the Ruach HaKodesh, what that looks like and what that means to you. I'm going to stay true to what he's called me to do. I ain't trying to do nothing else than what he's called me to do. That's what I do. Because that's what's going to bring in the harvest. Right. I'm producing fruit. And the fruit that I'm producing fruit. He says, and the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil, for our lamps is gone out. Give us some of your oil. Right? But the wise answer said, no, not so. No, not so. Lest there be not enough for us. We got to use this oil for us. We can't be using this oil for you. You're supposed to prepare yourself. You ain't supposed to be riding on somebody's coattail. No. Riding on somebody's coattail. Well, I'm going to stay around him because, he know Yahuwah. Oh, I'm going to hang out with her. I'm going to stay with her because she know Yahuwah. You ain't making no personal effort to understand and know Yahuwah for yourself, but you're going to ride. You think you're going to glide in on somebody else's oil. You think you're going to make it in with somebody else's. They done labored. They done travailed. They done endured tribulation. They allowed tribulation to work for them. They've developed some patience and experience. And they got a hope of his calling. His calling has come. Yahusha, the bridegroom, is here. Now they got what they need for their lamps. And you trying to ride their coattail and say, well, I want to get in with you. Get in with you. Let me into your house. Yahuwah may come a time when Yahuwah said, go in and close the door and lock the door. And wait for the indignation to pass. And you've been warning people. And then all of a sudden, the people won't come to your knock door and say, hey, yo, bro, can I come in with you? Can I stay with you? No. Door is closed. Yahuwah's told me to lock it. Don't come in. Can't come in. I'm sorry. Should have been prepared. Right? The indignation is here. You should have been ready. All you had to do was listen to what the Ruach was saying. But you didn't. So now you got to go through it. And now I ain't open up the door. I ain't open up the door to mama. I ain't open up the door to sister, brother. I ain't opening up the door to neighbors. I'm not opening up the door to anybody. If I close the door and my wife go out the door and decide she won't come back in, she ain't getting in. Because once Yahuwah said close the door and you go out the door, I ain't opening up the door. Why would I do that? I got to wait till the indignation to pass. See, because if you wanted to go out the door, then you wasn't satisfied with the rest of Yahuwah that was on the inside of the door. So you weren't really doing what you needed to do to prepare yourself to be established in His witness. Some of y'all may think that's hard, but you know what? That's the truth. That's the difference between the 5 wise and the 5 foolish. That's the difference between those who have the Ruach HaKodesh, who remain, continue, and dwell in His witness, who fast and pray and seek Yahuwah and get up in the early mornings of the hour and pray in the Ruach and sing in the Ruach and sometimes dance before Yahuwah, do whatever it takes, praying, interceding, giving word because they know what it takes. They understand the tribulation. They understand that it was good for them. They understand the tribulation was good for them. They understand that it worked patience. Because, see, you know, they knew that they needed to store up the oil. Because they didn't know when it was going to come. See, I know I got to fast and I got to pray as often as I can. Because I don't know when He coming. I got to pray in the Ruach HaKodesh. I got to pray with understanding. Listen, man, sometimes I just go to singing and praying in the Ruach HaKodesh. Because I don't know when He coming. And I know my Ruach, when I pray in the Ruach, that's the Spirit prays. I got to do everything in my power to pray. I pray with my understanding too. I tell you, talk to you all the time with my understanding. But listen, the understand, you got to understand, you got to do everything you got to do. You got to do everything you can do to make sure your oil is full. He said, no, let there not be enough for us. He said, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. You know, I can tell you, just go get some. See, I'm prepared. Right? I got my oil in my lamp. This hour, at the hour that the bridegroom cometh. I ain't out at the last minute trying to work it out. I ain't trying to work out my salvation in the last hour. No, I ain't trying to work out my salvation after the bridegroom is on his way and coming. Listen, he says, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. At midnight there came a cry, behold, the bridegroom cometh. I'm going to try to get nothing done when the bridegroom is coming. I'm already have it ready. Some of y'all sitting around here thinking you're going to make it in that last hour. Thinking that you're going to be able to repent. Thinking that you're going to be able to make it in. Thinking you'll believe, well, if I'm just with sister such and such, or if I'm with brother such and such, or if I'm with the assembly of such and such, or if I'm of the tribe of such and such, right? Well, as long as I'm with them, I'm in them. I'm gonna go in with my lamp. I'm gonna go in because they're gonna make sure I got my lamps lit. You ain't going in as no tribe. You're going in as an individual. You ain't entering into the kingdom as a tribe. You're entering into the kingdom as an individual. Yahuwah knows those that are His. You're hiding amongst people. Hiding amongst people. He said, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. Now, how you going to find oil for your lamps at midnight? It's dark outside. It's dark. Your lamp ain't got no light. It's dark. You got to find your way to somebody's house. You got to find your place to someplace to buy oil. Right? It's going to take you time. But you ain't got time now. Because the bridegroom is coming. Ain't got time to get it right. Ain't got time to get some oil. Ain't got time to fast and to pray. He here. Ain't got time. And you know what? You're going to be like Shlomo, vexation and a Ruach. See, because, listen. When the Ruach leaves you, everything is distorted. When your lamp runs out of oil, you don't see things like you should. Shlomo didn't see things like he should because the Ruach HaKodesh departed from him. Left him. Fleed him. See, you felt like you was going to be able to get something for somebody else in that hour. That's deceitful. Without having to be prepared yourself. Your Ruach is gone. Your lamp is out. You ain't prepared. You ain't prepared to receive what Yahuwah has. You ain't prepared. You're going to try in this last hour to go and buy and sell, but you ain't going to be able to find nothing. And even if you do, it's going to be too late because the hour is going to come and go. The bridegroom is going to come and go. And you know it's going to be something when these people get before Yahuwah. Say, listen, wait a minute. Yahuwah, let me in. Let me in. Get away from my door. I don't know you. It's like in the days of Noah, right? Noah and his sons and wives got on the boat, closed the door, and it was raining, and all started to flood, and the water was rising. Excuse me. They start knocking on it. Let us in, Noah, let us in. Noah, let us in. Let us in, Noah, let us in. Right? I think it's in Jubilees too, is they started trying to break into the boat. But Yahuwah had all the ravenous beasts that weren't in the ark served to prevent all those who tried to get in the ark, tried to break their way in. Sent a ravenous beast, lions, your tigers, your rhinos, just gorging people, preventing them from getting in their ark, sacrificing, laying down their animal lives. Because Yahuwah was going to deliver those who are prepared to go in the ark. Yahuwah is going to deliver those that are the righteous. Those that are prepared to go in. He says, and while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. Trying to get it right. But Yahuwah knows those that are his. He comes to get them. And they that are ready, they endure to the end. Because they didn't know when the bridegroom was going to come. They weren't taking that for granted. They weren't saying, well, we always got tomorrow. No, they was living like, you know what? Yahuwah may come today. I got to make sure that I'm prayed up. I got to make sure I'm fasted up. I got to make sure that I'm seeking Yahuwah with my whole heart. I got to make sure I'm saying and doing those things that please Yahuwah. I got to make sure I'm giving this witness to those who have an ear to hear. I got to make sure I'm blowing the trumpet, sounding the alarm, declaring the shofar. I got to make sure that this witness is getting out. I got to do that. I have to do that. I can't sleep on my laurels. I can't slumber to the point where when he calls, I don't hear him. It's just because, there's times I'm in the bed, right? And Yahuwah said, get up. And I know he's telling me to get up. I got to get up. I can't. Oh, well, you almost lay here a little while longer. Get up. Gotta get up. Gotta get him pray. Gotta get him pray. Gotta get him read. Gotta get him seek his face. I got to get up before you. I got to spend time in the Word. I got to do what I got to do. Got to be prepared. Because I know tribulation going to come. But it works. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get experience. I'm going to get hope. I'm going to get patience. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage. And the door was shut. Yeah, they went in. They had oil. They had endured unto the end. They had received their inheritance. They were the purchased possession. They had what they needed to get the job done. And they were able to go in. Right? Afterwards came also the virgins. They were foolish. They received the witness, but they was foolish. They didn't do what they needed to do. They ended up like Shlomo. They felt they had what they needed. We good. You gonna take next oil? Nah, we good. We need some. We'll just get some from you. We good. Afterwards came also the virgins, saying unto him, Adonai, open to us. Now, you know, it's interesting, right? They went to buy oil. Right? They went to buy oil for yourselves. While they left, the bridegroom came and shut the door. And afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Adonai, right? Adonai, open to us. It never said that their oil. It never said they got oil in their lamps. It never said that their condition changed. They went to buy oil, right? He says, but go ye rather to them that sell and buy oil for yourselves. They left at midnight to buy oil, but it never said they got oil. He says, but while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went with him to the marriage and shut the door. Right? Afterwards came also other virgins, saying, Adonai, open unto us. They ain't no oil. Their oil that went out. They didn't buy no oil that hour. Right? It's too late. Store was closed. Everything was locked up. They still went to the bridegroom's house trying to get in. But he answered, said unto them, verily I say unto you, I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. The Ruach HaKodesh of the Ruach HaKodesh is he ain't in you. I don't know you like that. The Ruach ain't in you. He said, listen. He fleed you. The Ruach HaKodesh fleed you. Listen, because the Ruach HaKodesh, because you had oil. And it burned out in the process of you waiting for the bridegroom, and he took his time. He tarried. But you weren't prepared for that tarrying. You weren't prepared for that enduring. Right? And the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline fleed you. Because you had decided within yourself, you know what, if I run out of oil, I'm gonna get some from them. They ain't prepared. I'm gonna be all good. Right? And remove from the thoughts that are without understanding. You weren't operating in the Ruach of understanding. You had allowed yourself to convince yourself that you was going to be okay with your lamp. Because you figured he was going to come when you thought he was going to come. But he tarried. And you weren't prepared for that. Right? And will not abide when unrighteousness come in. And once you get to that place of unrighteousness and deceit, your motives become pure and wicked. Listen, this ain't gonna remain with you. You thinking you gonna be able to get you gonna be able to get in on somebody's coattail. You think you gonna be able to get in because of mom and them and your brother and them and your sister and them, your aunt and them, your wife and your husband, your kids. For the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom is a loving Ruach, and will not acquit a blasphemer. You ain't getting there. Right? You ain't getting there. You weren't prepared to endure to the end. You didn't endure to the end. Right? You didn't watch and pray. You didn't watch and pray. You just slept. You didn't get up in hour times and seek Yahuwah's face. You didn't ask him to fortify you and strengthen you. You didn't fast. You didn't pray. For Alua is witness. To his reigns. You is a witness to the reigns of the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom. Right? And a true beholder of his heart, the Ruach HaKodesh, beholds the heart. And a hearer of his tongue. Those who move in the Ruach of wisdom. He told this woman, he says, verily, verily, I say unto you, I don't know you. Told the virgins he didn't know. He didn't know. Let's look at this. He didn't know them. That word know in the Greek.
Strong's G 1492. Ido.
I don't see you. To perceive with the eyes, to perceive with the senses, to perceive, to discern, to discover. Right. To perceive, to discern, to discover. The act of knowledge. Right. I don't know you. Haven't discovered you. See, because I would have been able to identify with you because my father's Ruach would have been in you. Your lamps would have had oil in them. See, and again, don't get twisted up around a physical lamp. It has everything to do with Yahuwah's Ruach on the inside of you. that causes you to be led and guided into all truth. Because the 5 wise were led by the Ruach HaKodesh because they took vessels with oil. The foolish, ain't it? It was vanity. I ain't carrying no vessel with no oil in it. He ain't gonna take that long. He gonna come. He gonna come soon. Don't worry about that. And if I do need some, I'll get some of theirs. I didn't mean to go that long on that. We dealt with that in our Basor of Truth Shabbat service, Shabbat lesson. Ma'aki brought out the oil, right? The wisdom of the Ruach HaKodesh. See, Ruach is going to lead you and guide you into all truth. See, man, if y'all want me, you got to understand the wisdom of Yahuwah is going to lead you and guide you into all truth. Right? The wisdom of Yahuwah is going to lead you and guide you into all truth. Ruach HaKodesh. Yahuwah does everything by his Ruach. Yahusha said that the Ruach of truth is going to. Let's do this. Yahusha says in Yuhukanan 14 and 16, I will pray the Father, Abba, and he shall give you someone to replace me, another comforter. See, because up until now, I have been that comforter. Up until now, I have been that Ruach HaKodesh. Up until now, before you, I have been that clarity of thought and understanding that is a Ruachally going to be discerned once I leave. But right now, I am he. I am that anointed son, the word, the Torah made flesh, that has the Ruach of Yahuwah, the Ruach of wisdom, the Ruach of understanding, the Ruach of counsel, the Ruach of might, the Ruach of knowledge, and the fear of Yahuwah. I am that in the earth with you right now. He says, but I am going to pray the Father. Right? And he shall give you another comforter. Right? A consoler, that he may abide with you forever. Now, he will abide with you forever if you continue to meet the conditions, right? And endure to the end. Because he ain't going to stay with you if you don't. We got too much evidence to support the fact that the Ruach HaKodesh just ain't going to just stay with you. Listen, the virgins, right? 5 wise and 5 foolish. They both started out with their lamps trimmed. They both had light lamps trimmed that burned oil. But the foolish, they let it slip. They let it slip. They allowed themselves not to be disciplined. they allow themselves to not allow the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline to show them what they needed to do. They didn't take the lead of the wise, those that were Ruach fulfilled and who were ready to endure to the end. That he may abide with you forever. Right? He says, even the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. The Ruach HaKodesh of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it sees him not. The world ain't going to receive this witness of the Ruach HaKodesh because they don't see it. Right? Neither know him. So they don't see him, the Ruach HaKodesh. And Yahusha said they don't know him. Him. Again, you got to understand when Shlomo was speaking of this Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, he was referring to her as a her because, that's his desire was to her like a young man's passion is to a woman. He wanted it more than anything. Yahusha says, but ye know him, right? For he dwells with you, right? He dwells with you now. I have to see the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Yehukanan. Let's go, Yehukanan. Yehukanan. Right? Yehukanan says, Yehukanan, the first chapter, 29th verse. And the next day, seeing Yahusha coming down unto him, he said, behold, the lamb, the atonement, the blood that is to be sprinkled on the Shamayim in heaven by the high priest that is forever after the order of Melchizedek, Yahusha. He is going to be his the lamb and the high priest. He says, behold the Lamb of Yahuwah that taketh away the sins of the world. This is of whom I said, after me cometh a man which is preferred before me, for he is before me. Right? Statement of fact. And I knew him not, because he didn't know him, but that he should be manifested to Yasharal. I knew that Yahuwah told me he was going to come and he was going to be manifested to Yasharal. He's coming to Yasharal. He ain't coming to the world. He was not manifested to the world. He was manifested to Yasharal. Therefore am I come baptizing with water. Now I'm doing what he told me to do, to baptize with water. I am to take you down, to ceremonially dunk you, right? I'm taking you down, a symbolic of the death and the resurrection, and also symbolic of putting off the dirty, nasty, filthy flesh and coming up anew, right? That's what it was, right? And Yehukanan bore record saying, I saw the Ruach HaKodesh descend upon him from the Shamayim as a dove, and it aboded on him. So what I witnessed. Right? I'm giving you my first-hand account, my testimony, right? Listen. He says, and I knew him not, right? I didn't know him, right? But he that sent me to baptize with water, the same said unto me, upon whom I shall see the Ruach HaKodesh descending and remaining on him. The same is he that will baptize with the Ruach HaKodesh. This comforter, right? This comforter, even the Ruach HaKodesh of truth. You get on 14 and 17. Whom the world cannot receive because it sees him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him because he dwells with you. because Ruach HaKodesh was in Yahusha. The Ruach HaKodesh aboded on Yahusha. The Ruach HaKodesh was in Yahusha without measure. He says, and he shall be in you. Right? Because Yahusha going to baptize you. Excuse me. Yahusha is going to baptize you to Ruach HaKodesh. He said he's going to pray to the Father. The Father's going to send him. But when he comes, he's going to baptize you with the Ruach HaKodesh. It occurred on the day of Pentecost. Right? Acts. I just keep opening up these windows. Right? And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, when the day of Shavuot was fully come, they were all in one place with one accord. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as it were the rushing mighty wind, and it filled the house where all they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues as the fire which sat on each of them. And they were all filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, hence the baptism. And filling of the Ruach HaKodesh, and began to speak with other tongues as the Ruach HaKodesh gave them utterance. Right? They were filled. Now, he says here, he says back to John, the 18th verse of that 14th chapter. And I will not leave you comfortless, but I will come to you. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to lead you. I'm going to guide you into all truth. Right? He says here, where's that? Let's jump down to the 26th verse. But when the Comforter, the Ruach HaKodesh of truth, whom the Abba will send in my name, Yah salvation. He's going to send it in Yah salvation. He shall teach you. See, the Ruach HaKodesh is teaching you right now. Because I've submitted to the witness of Yahusha Mashiach. I've received the water, the blood, and the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh is leading me as I speak to you. But I ain't prepared this. This is the Ruach HaKodesh is doing. Listen. He says, and he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance. The Ruach HaKodesh is going to cause you to remember things that you did not know before. He's going to bring them to your remembrance. Whatsoever I have said unto you, Shlomo, as a young man, pursued the wisdom of Yahuwah with the passion of a woman, the passion for a woman. He wanted the let me see. Here it is. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8. The Ruach of wisdom reaches from one end to another mightily. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 1. And sweetly doeth she order all things. The Ruach HaKodesh orders all things. Now, you know Yahusha said he and she. I mean, Yahusha said he, the Ruach HaKodesh. The son called him he. Shlomo says, I see her. I want her. I desire her. Right? Verse 2. I love the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, and I sought her out in my youth. I desire to make the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, the Ruach HaKodesh, my spouse. Marry her. For I was a lover of her beauty. I love the Ruach HaKodesh and what she looked like. And what she looked like is what she produced. This wisdom and this understanding, this clarity, this revelation. When he read Torah, when he heard Torah, he was able to see by wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of him. The eyes of his understanding was enlightened because he had Yahuwah's Ruach. See, that's the way I feel, man. I feel like, the more that I submit to the Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah, look, the more Ruach, wisdom, revelation, and the knowledge of him, the more the eyes of my understanding are enlightened. See, I know what he called me to do. He called me to preach his witness. He called me to declare that you must receive the Ruach HaKodesh. I know what he's called me to do. But Shlomo was passionate about her. He was passionate about her. Since young man, in his youth, he was passionate. He said that the Ruach, is conversant with Alua. Listen, the Ruach HaKodesh conversates. I don't know if that's a word. Conversate. It's conversation. Conversates. With Yahuwah. Yahuwah, as I read Torah, reveals himself and conversates by the wisdom of the Ruach HaKodesh. Right? The Ruach HaKodesh magnifies its nobility. The Ruach HaKodesh of Yahuwah in me magnified my nobility. Right? But the Ruach magnifies its own nobility. The Ruach it shows that it's Yahuwah's. It shows that it's from Yahuwah. It magnifies Yahuwah. Yea, Adonai, of all things, himself is lover of her. He's passionate about wisdom. Passionate about the Ruach HaKodesh. For she is privy to the mysteries of Yahuwah. She's privy to the knowledge of Alua. And she loves all his works. Listen, the Ruach of wisdom, right? The Ruach of wisdom. If riches are to be possessed, right? To be desired in this life, what is richer than the Ruach of wisdom? It's more richer or more value than her, Shlomo, right? Because it works all things. He says, and if prudence work, who of all that is of more cunning of a workman than she? Listen. Shlomo loved her. He says in the 16th verse, after I come home into my own house, come home into the house, I repose myself with her. I sit down and relax with her, my spouse, the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, whom I love her beauty and cherish her. For our conversation, there is no bitterness. This is Shlomo at a young age. This is not the Shlomo that had got to the point where he entertained folly and madness. This is Shlomo strictly in his passion for the Ruach of wisdom and the Ruach of knowledge. Yahuwah's Ruach HaKodesh. It's the 5 virgins that are wise, that have received the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, who knows that they have to endure to the end. They don't know when the bridegroom's coming, but they know that they have to have oil in their vessels. so that if it takes a while and their lamps go out, they got oil to put back in them, because there's going to come a time in some 12 hours that Yahuwah's going to return. Because, Yahuwah in that 12th hour, right, because he tarried. Them virgins, they had oil in their lamps, and that oil in that lamp lasted a while. Who don't know how many number of days that oil lamp lasted them? And, they felt like they had plenty. Until Yahuwah came at the 12th hour. Bridegroom's here. But see, the wise, they were passionate about the bridegroom. They wanted to be ready for when he came. No slip-ups. No mishaps. No missteps. No taking anything for granted. No assumptions. They want to be ready. Shlomo says, I reposed myself with her. I relaxed in with her. For our conversation had no bitterness. I communed with Yahuwah. I prayed in the Ruach. I prayed with my understanding. I communed with Yahuwah in conversation. We had dialogue. And my spirit prayed. I would read the word in Yahuwah by the Ruach of wisdom and revelation would reveal it to me. Would open up my understanding profoundly. It amazes me what Yahuwah by his Ruach does. Shlomo says, to live with her haveth no sorrow. Right? So to live with the Ruach HaKodesh has no sorrow. Right? And myrrh and joy are the result of the Ruach HaKodesh's presence in the midst of you. Right? Now, remember now, Shlomo got up in age, right? Shlomo entertained madness and folly, right? What does it say? He said, I commune with my own heart, saying, lo, I am of greatest state. I have gotten more wisdom than all they that are in Jerusalem before me. Yea, my heart is great and experienced wisdom and knowledge. Yeah. I got this. I gave my heart to know wisdom and knowledge. But then wisdom fleed me. Because I got lifted up. I didn't do what I needed to do in order to maintain my oil. I didn't do what was necessary to make sure that I had reserves. Right? But instead I gave myself to madness, lunacy. I gave myself to insanity, to madness, to craziness. I gave myself to folly, to stupidity, to insanity. I gave myself to dementia, a mental illness, derangedness, bedlam, mayhem, chaos, Baal. And I perceived that this also was vexation to the spirit. It's vexed. The spirit fleed. It ain't got nothing to do with me there. And now I've come to the conclusion that with much wisdom cometh grief. That he that increases knowledge increases sorrows. But no, Shlomo. As a young man, you said, I will repose myself to the wisdom and the knowledge. For her conversation, there's no bitterness. And to live with her, there's no sorrow. There's no grief. Right? There's no grief. There's no sorrow. He says, when I live with the Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom and the Ruach HaKodesh of knowledge, there's no sorrow. There's no grief. There's myrrh and joy. Myrrh and joy. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, watch therefore. Pray. Because you don't know the day nor the hour when Yahusha HaMashiach will return to gather his people. You don't know when he's going to call to you and say, it's time to go. The door is open. You don't know when he's going to say, go in and close the door and shut and wait for the indignation to pass. You don't know, but you will hear his voice if you're prepared. If you have his Ruach HaKodesh. And you're doing everything you need to do in order to be disciplined. Having the Ruach HaKodesh of discipline bring you understanding. Because if you don't, after they came, the other versions saying, Adonai, open up unto us. Behold, the answer said, verily I say unto you, I don't know you not. Man of Yah, woman of Yah, don't let that be you. Man of Yahuwah, woman of Yahuwah, don't let that be you. 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 Listen, we the people of the book broadcast gone down. Yeah, it has. It has gone down. And you know what? My Hezekiah said it better than anybody that I know lately. Zion, only a remnant, only 5 wise virgins having their oil in their lamps, having vessels with oil. Only those that are prepared. Only those that are endured to the end. Only those who do those things that keep Yahuwah's witness alive in them. We the people book broadcast has gone down. Understand what we in. Yahweh, I pray right now the words that you've given me to give to them, that they would receive them, keep them, and that it would keep them, make them alive, establish them in this witness. Yahuwah, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, I am begging, I am pleading, I am crying in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach that they would receive your witness. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, Yahuwah, may no one be turned out of the way. May no one come up lame. May no one be caused to stumble. But by the Ruach of wisdom and revelation concerning you, the eyes of their understanding, that they would be enlightened, Yahweh. That they would know the hope of their call. What the riches, the glory, the inheritance are in us as the saints. And what the exceeding greatness is of their power. Your power to us who believe. Yahweh, I give you praise. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight. You are my strength and my Redeemer. In the name of Yahusha Mashiach. Listen, man of Yah. Only a remnant. We the people of book broadcast has gone down on this Shabbat. Man of Yah called to greatness. Woman of Yah called to greatness. Woman of Yahuwah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, today, Yahuwah's favored you. Receive this witness. We going out to Hezekiah. I do it for the nation. Only a remnant. I don't know the rights to this music. With that, I say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Be blessed.
Torah guardian, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.